Okay. 2004 Mercedes-Benz CL600. I'm going to give you a real-world example. Well, I'm sorry. Maybe a real-world view of this car. And this really works with the W220s, which is the S-Class, and the C215, which is the CL class, right? Now, my experience with these cars is the V12s. So I really can't comment on the V8s. I'm not a V8 guy. You know, the only time I'm a V8 guy is when it comes to like pickup trucks. You know, obviously I do like cars with some V8s. But I mean, if, you know, obviously when it's my money and I'm going to buy something that I want, it's going to be a V12. Now, here's the thing, is that I'm not an old guy, okay? I'm 42 years old, okay? But I really got to the point in my life where it's like, if I don't like it, I'm not going to bother with it. You know, I'm not into playing around and playing these games and wasting time and money. I just gave up on that. Now, I bought this car recently. I got a great deal on it. It had 62,000 miles on the clock. It's a 2004 CL600, so it's the V12 twin turbo or biturbo. So it's the M275 motor. Now, the M275 motor is the big boy, right? It's a 5.5 liter V12 twin turbo. Lots of pros and cons. And real world, you know, these cars are pretty cool. I mean, they're awesome. However, there's a lot of catches when it comes to this car. Because remember, look, this was not a cheap car when it first came out. I mean, I'm not going to be one of those guys and be like, oh, it was worth $15 million when it first came out, or whatever it was. I don't necessarily know what that conversion is, nor do I care. You know, that's kind of like when my wife comes home and she says, I got something on sale. And, well, what's the price? Oh, it was $50. Well, it's a $50 thing, right? So, look, I bought this car out the door with 62,000 miles on it. This is 2025. I've had this car for a few months now for $14,000. And people might say, oh, that's a lot of money. Well, some people might say that's a great deal. It was my purchase. I'm going to tell you it was a good deal because it's a baby, right? It's a baby of a car. The car's in pristine condition. Now, is there some mechanical issues I have had to deal with since I bought this car? Absolutely. If you think that you're going to get into any of these types of cars, whether it's a V12 twin turbo Mercedes, or it's going to be a Bentley Continental or Flying Spur, there's going to be something, right? It's just guaranteed to happen. Now, the difference between me and somebody else is, you know, I work on the cars myself. If I had to go to a mechanic every time I needed to do something, this car would not be worth it. It just wouldn't make sense. I'll give you a real world example. Is I had an ABC line, because this car has ABC. It's not being converted. I already did that once, and it's just not the same. Okay, don't bother with that. If you're gonna get one of these cars, you should redo the ABC when the time comes. However, I bought this car. I test drove the car. I scanned the car. The car came up good. You know, ABC's working. Everything works great. Fast forward a month, and I had a line blowout on it. Thankfully, it happened in front of my house, so I was able to immediately shut the car off and start to look at it and figure out, well, what's going on? Where is this hose? If it would have been a hose on the top of the motor, you know, going to one of the struts off the valve blocks, it's easy peasy. Obviously, the one that had the blow was the one that's underneath the motor, so it's called a dead end, or it's just a hose that goes nowhere. However, you got to lift the motor, you got to drop the subframe. So you know what? My wife was like, look, enough with you going under the cars, it's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, you know what, I'll bite the bullet. I'll take it to a mechanic. I took it to a mechanic, and they took care of that line for me. And I ended up saying, hey, look, while you're in there, because that's one of these things with this car is, it's a while you're in there. If you're doing something to this car, you might as well fix whatever else is around it, or, prefix it, if you will, right? Because they had to drop the subframe for this car, so you might as well put the motor mounts in there, put the transmission mount in there too while you're in there, right? So I ended up doing that. That bill was $5,000. That's for all the accumulators and the replacement of the 2 lines that were blown. So 2 lines, all the accumulators, and the motor mounts. And you might say, wow, that's a lot of money. All right, so you're up to $19,000. Yeah, all right. I'm into the car for $19,000, if you will, right? Right now, on Auto Trader and stuff like that, these cars are $30,000. Now, are they going to get $30,000? I don't know. But at the same time, I don't really care. I don't care if the car is selling for $10,000 now. I paid $19,000 with the repair. And that's the way you really have to calculate it if you like these cars and you want to keep these cars. Where do you want to be? What do you think is reasonable? I could have turned around and said, look, I'm not spending $5,000 on this car. I'm going to convert it. I could have converted the car for like $2,000, right? But then it's like, it takes away from the car. So I bit the bullet and I bought it. But you know what? The parts are warranted by Mercedes. You know what I mean? I got a year warranty on my suspension in essence, right? So that's the way I look at it. And even if something was to happen again, like, that's the cost of doing business. It's just, that's the way it is with these cars. So would I say it's an expensive car? Has it been expensive? Like, yeah. I had another issue that I believe I fixed, which was an overboost issue. But look, that became like a parts thing where it's like, okay, it's not this, it's not that, it must be this, and there was another $1,000 almost in parts. Now I did that myself. I have Zentry, which is the computer, and if you don't have that tool, these cars are very, very painful, because you'll be chasing a lot, and Zentry, obviously tells you things that the other scanners are not going to tell you. It's not going to know. It's not going to be able to read the codes. And also Zentry will give you photos of how to make that repair or what to look for. So I had an overboost issue. Ended up going through all the different map sensors. There's 4 of them on this car. Ended up changing a flat, gasket between the throttle body and an intake manifold. I did the air cleaners while I was there, because it's like, once again, while you're there, you might as well change your air filters. And then I ended up having to do a test. I made a video about it, about a transducer for the wastegates. Now, it appears that this car has a tune. I can't verify that it has a tune or not, but I'm pumping out about, you ready for this? About 29 PSI when I'm giving it power. 29 PSI, I mean, that is a ridiculous amount of boost. That's verified. Now, I'm going to put it on a dyno at some point to kind of get an idea of, what it's actually doing to the wheels. However, I might detune it if it really is running that hot all the time, and I'll go with a Rentec tune, because it's a tried and true tune, right? So that's just my opinion. Now, drivability. This car is amazing. This car is smooth. This car is very fast. People be like, oh, you got to get a 65 AMG, blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't know if it's because it's tuned or not, but I've had a V12, S600 that was naturally aspirated, also very fast. That car's only got 380, I think, something like that. And this car, bone stock, it's 493. So this car's a monster. It's just a monster. I mean, at the time, it would rip the doors off of Continentals. So, I mean, you're talking a very fast car, very comfortable car, very quiet car. There's some issues with it. obviously. There's no major issues like, you know, engine out unless you have the turbo. Like, you know, you have a problem with the turbos and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's an engine out. You know, but versus the Continentals around the same era, they had these vacuum lines that were above the transmission. You would have to drop the motor for. I think that went to like 2007 or 2012. I don't recall exactly, but I think that if you like these types of cars, whether it's a CL500, a CL600, a CL55, a 65, and they have ABC, and they have coil packs like on the V12s. I don't know if the V8s have that or not. You know, it's not a car that you think is going to be a beater. If you think it's going to be a beater car, a whip, or whatever you think, no. I think you're in the wrong game. You're in the wrong category of cars. This is definitely not a Mustang. You know, will it blow the doors off a Mustang all day long? Will you hear it? No, you won't, because this car's quiet. They didn't do anything with the exhaust or anything like that. It's quiet. But if you want a fast car, you want a car that has presence. Because this car has presence. I don't care what anybody says. 2004, not. You pull up with this thing, you know, it's got a presence to it. You're not going to get that in a Mustang. You're not going to get that in a Scion. You know, you're just not going to get that type of presence. You know, you come up with this car, you're the boss. You know, what can I say? But being the boss has a cost. Isn't that what James Brown said? You know, he paid the cost to be a boss. Well, yeah. If you were to pick up a Rolls Royce or anything like that, if you could even touch it for the price point, you got issues with those cars as well. So, all in all, I think that if you pick up one of these, you're not going to be disappointed. I think that if you just assume that there's going to be issues with it at some point, you know, you might get a beautiful car and it might work great. You might not have zero issues. Great. But they're coming. You know, those issues are going to come. There's no amount of preventative maintenance you could do when it comes to time on these hoses and things like that. They're going to wear out. You know, this car's only got 65,000 miles on now. A lot of things I've done, you know, prematurely, if you will, just because I know that they're going to break. So if you just have that mindset that, hey, stuff's going to happen, I really love the car, you know, I'm passionate about the car, I like the idea that when I hit that gas pedal, you know, the world's going to move, and I'm going to be the fastest thing on the street. Obviously, we're not talking about real speed, like, you know, obviously, if you just want speed, you get a Tesla, right? If that's what you're really into. And, you know, c'est la vie, man. You can do whatever you want. I'm just a V12 guy. But my opinion is they're great cars if you can afford it. If you have that mindset. I would also suggest that this is not your primary car in terms of you have to have another car. Because when these things break down, they're broken down for a few days while you're waiting for parts. So keep that in mind. You know, obviously I don't have just one car, so I could deal with this. This car was laid up for 2 days just before. So that's my opinion. CL600 2004. If you have any questions or whatever, you can email me. You can leave me a comment. I'm going to try to start making a lot more videos again. Why not?